If I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had
$1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had
$1 million,
well, I'd buy a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1
million, I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
If I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there
you
somewhere.
know, we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Oh yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice reliant automobile.
And if I
fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
like a llama or an
you John Merrick's remains.
Ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just need more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put a little
Welcome to the
nice
webinar.
somewhere.
Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the
There
line.
will be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them
The webinar will
crazy
begin shortly.
elephant bones.
Please remain on the line.
Had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
course we would. We just eat more.
And buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right, all the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
$1 million.
If I had $1 million,
Well, I'd buy you a green dress.
But not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
A Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
Haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy you.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1 million, 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 if I had $1 million,
I'd be rich.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
If I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
Maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy
The webinar will
you a
begin
big
shortly.
car.
Please remain on the line.
Buy an automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you.
if I had $1 million, I'd build a tree fort in our yard. If I had $1 million, you could help, it wouldn't be that hard. If I had $1 million, maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
We could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there will always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
Can you blame them?
Oh, yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
But not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
Like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
Ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1 million, we wouldn't have to walk to the store. If I had $1 million, now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs more. If I had $1 million, we wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
But we would eat Kraft dinner.
Of course we would. We just eat more.
And buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right, all the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the
buy
line.
you a green dress.
But not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, traders. This is Andy. I'm joined with Jamie. Bear with us, as Scott is having some audio issues, but that's okay. We started the recording, and we are going to go ahead and get started without him. He may get that fixed before the end of the webinar here, but if not, once again, there'll be plenty of content. You're not going to miss anything except maybe Scott's voice. So, and you will miss the poll today because I really don't know how to run that. So let's get started, guys. This is the Trading Studio. Thank you for joining us. My name is Andy, and my sidekick here is Jamie. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Hey, Andy. Hello, everybody.
All right. All right. Hello, Mike C. Somebody just drop a line in there or two that you can see my screen and you hear me okay. Thank you, Todd. Said the sound is good. And I'm assuming the visual is also okay. All right, thank you. Hey, Chris, appreciate it. All right, guys. Wow, let's dive in into the action here. Before we do, let's want to go over the disclaimer here. We are a content publisher. Okay, we are doing this for educational purposes only. Nothing that you see and hear today should be construed as investment advice. We're going to have some fun. We got some good stuff on tap for today. Holly with an incredible day. Jamie will break that down for us. And then I got a great new top list that I created today that I'm going to share. And before I do, I'm going to show you kind of how I created it. It's always a good thing to go through, is not just give you and feed you, but show you how sometimes you can make the what do you call it? Donuts. There, making the donuts. Yeah. So, all right. This is going to be the agenda for today. All right. We are going to have the market recap, and then we're going to go into the Holly recap. And guys, there was a couple of really, really good trades. I hope some of you caught it today. JHG was called from two different strategies today. Great explosive move off the daily chart. I may highlight that just to kind of show you that daily setup was there and why you probably should have taken that trade. And then PEN, I'm not one to like to catch knives, but Holly did a great job catching the turn today in PEN. All right, so we are going to highlight that too, and some other good trades in there as well. It was, like I said, a banner day for Holly. Going to pat ourselves on the back a little bit. Really excited because of our different configuration and changes that we made to our algorithms. Things have been looking good since then. So we'll dive into that in just a second. And then new top list I taught you about. The name of it is called Sweetness because there's a lot of sweet setups in there. It's a bullish daily setup. a top list that you can run throughout the day, or you can check it out in the evening or before the market opens to catch these setups. All right, before we do, let's talk about the support, education, and training. We have a great month last month, so we know there's a lot of new people in here, and we understand that it is a very powerful software. We have tons of resources for you to learn. The problem is, guys, we've gotten so big. I mean, this is why we provide all these resources. Obviously, we can't do the one-on-one like we used to because it's just too much demand, but there's tons of places you can go. I'm going to start out by showing you the webinars that we have every Monday through Thursday at the same time slot. It's 5 Eastern time. And if you look over there along the left side of the screen there, you'll see Wednesday's not in there. No, Wednesday is in there, but Tuesday's not in there. But that's the Trade of the Week webinar with Steve. But so you're going to find it's usually myself, Jamie, or Steve kind of juggling these responsibilities paired up in twos. But don't miss a Q&A demo that comes out every Wednesday. It's a great place to go. That's our CEO, Dan Merkin, and our CTO, Brad Williams. They'll have some great insight, good place to go for Q&A to learn about, since you got Brad in there, he can show you all the gadgets and features that are coming around the corner. We're constantly updating our software here because we're constantly adding new stuff. All right, the support webinar down there at the bottom that you see Monday through Friday, every day at 12 Eastern time. Guys, that's the best place to go if you have questions. If you need to see how something is done, we get tons of emails all the time, and emails it's not as good as being able to come and see a desktop, and so somebody can show you and you can visualize what's happening. And as we explain how to perform whatever you're trying to do as far as trading questions go. So come to that support webinar. And then also, guys, our YouTube, go to our YouTube channel. There's tons of videos on there. So there's a lot of places, a lot of resources for you to get help. And this I'll save toward the end because we want to dive into the action today. And before I do, the first thing I want to, because this, can't wait, I'm going to show you the couple of trades today. And like I said, Jamie will take it over and go over a lot more in depth. But I wanted to show you this daily chart and this GHG and a great little breakout today. Holly was patient enough in catching it on the dip right there. And then, boy, all day long, all the way from, what is that, 30, 35, boy, almost $2 out of that one if you held toward all the way to the close. Great setup, great relative volume, almost 4.5 relative volume. So, and then, boy, this PN, what a beautiful grab that was. You can see just tons of sell-off over the last 2 or 3 weeks here in this pen. And Holly picked out something right here and pegged it to a T almost at 192.30, and look at that, guys, all the way up over 206 at one time. So this is one that could have actually some great movement after. I shouldn't say it's going to happen, but there's a real good chance. It's a typical reversal pattern there, a nice little bottoming tail with a bottom, almost a hammer, and then you possibly get the reversal off the top of that tomorrow, which is one that you can watch tomorrow for further price movement in the north direction there. All right, now let's go just talk a little bit about the market. Kind of a quirky close there. Here we have it, guys. It's the market we had today, and pretty much a doji. If you look here on my daily chart, almost a perfect doji. And today you can see the action was kind of whipsawy, and then we went just to highs only to get slammed down in the last 30 minutes of the day, probably due to some vaccine news that came out. Like I said, I don't try to guess why a market's doing what it is. I just try to understand price action. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. We talked about the RSI. I'm not going to pull it up again and show you, Steve, kind of outline this on Tuesday, but we are seeing some, bearish divergence, as far as the RSI, an oscillator that kind of gauges, what's the relative strength? And we're just not seeing the ump as we normally do as we go to highs right here. In other words, the RSI is nowhere near the high it was over here, the previous highs that it hit. So just something to keep in the back of your head. Once again, I'm not going to dissect this again because we covered it on Tuesday, and I think you also covered it on Monday as well. But I tell you what, Jamie, other than that, the SPYs above all their major moving averages, near all-time highs, or basically at all-time highs. I think you just got to watch out for that bearish divergence we're seeing in the relative strength oscillator there. So see, I'm seeing some questions. I don't know if they're yeah, Dave, you know what, I don't know if price alerts, he's asking if no contest this week on winners from last one. Dave, I'm not going to be able to have those. I am visiting my mom, and I for some reason, the price alerts I have here are different. I guess they're saved on your server. So unfortunately, I don't have them. Maybe I could dig them up if we have time, but because I think I did share and save it to the cloud. So maybe I can dig them up if we have time. But Jamie, anything to add to the market recap?
Nope, I pretty much concur, Dr. Andy. The SPY, if you were to draw a line up there, what used to be resistance, kind of at the top of that big red bar there.
Yep.
The ceiling has become the floor for now. But as you stated
right here, yeah.
What we've been paying attention to is the relative strength declining, which is always could make for interesting events. But until we break down, well, we just don't know yet. Now, the action in the last 30 minutes, we were all talking about that in the last 30 minutes. We think that was all vaccine talk, right? If you look at Pfizer and some of the other big pharma stocks, a little bit of vaccine news causes a little herky-jerky there, whereas the tracking ETFs were like the volume was pretty paltry on all of them. I mean, the lowest volume that we've seen in the SPY ETF in a very long time, all day, and then we just had that little flurry in the last 30 minutes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yes. I'm sorry, Brock. Just you know what? I'll let Jamie's going to take over right quick, and then after he gets done, Brock, he'll answer your question there. It's a good question. I'm not sure if you enter it. No. If you enter it manually on your own strategy, Holly will take another position. I would think if that position. What's a tough one there? I might have to research that.
Well, that is a good question, Andy. And if you create your own strategy and put it in Brokerage Plus, anybody that's done that knows that you have a lot more options when you do an order entry, initiate a position even if holdings already exist.
Right.
Whereas that option is not available in the AI strategy tab.
Ah, okay. There you go. That makes sense.
And I can tell you right now, give me a second, because I ran Holly in auto mode today. And let's see here. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I was disconnected, but all my positions came back up. So in JHG, I only have one trade, even though Holly triggered it twice.
Because
I don't think I had multiple. Let's see here. Going to my trading instructions. Okay. So, I had my trading instructions running in moderate, just like I always do. But once again, there is no box that says enter more shares of a symbol, even if holdings exist. So I had Holly running in auto mode today, but it only made the first entry in JHG.
Okay, interesting. I haven't been running it when she's made multiple entries with one symbol before. So I'm glad you did that and saw that.
Wait! I take it back. Back. No, it did. It made one entry at 8:48 and one at 11:39. Those are central Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was the buy and the sell. So my
Okay.
first entry was 30.40, right? And I do believe that was the first one. Took 5 cents of slippage. Holly had 30.35. I had 30.40. It did not execute the second one.
Okay. But, it may be better if you're showing your screen. So,
You're right there. You ready for me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Can you see me now?
I can.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what I was referring to is here you can see all the Holly plays for today. You can
Mhm.
see the JHG here. But when we pop over here to executions, boom. All right. And I've got these sorted by alphabetical order. And you can see first one out of the gate was the buy at 30.40, and then the sell of that at 32.04. So,
Okay.
And of course, this is something that you never know until it happens. Whereas, if we were to go back to a strategy in Brokerage Plus and check out the edit trading instructions, then we can tell it, okay, send order even when holdings exist for a symbol. All right. So everybody just needs to keep in mind, we have in plans to get this more advanced functionality ported into the Holly order entry. It just hasn't happened yet. But this is a good example to bring to the coders to say, you know what, we probably ought to get this done sooner than later in case people want that option for a second entry when they're automating Holly stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. Now I see a ton of questions piling in here. So I think that answered Brock's question.
Yeah, I was kind of watching you and see. Yeah, it looks like everything's kind of building on the same question there.
So, I mean, Brock, tell me if I need to go into more detail there. So speaking of Holly, let's just go ahead and dive right into the Holly recap. And as Andy was saying, it was a great day for Holly. Of course, when we look over here at the channel bar, man, you look at 2.0 and you're like 2 trades up 1,300. Wow. Of course, that was all due to pin. You can see Holly 2.0 just had the pin trade and a little trade in LPRO that she was up a smidgen. But keep in mind, all of these figures in the channel bar are assuming a trade of 100 shares minimum, right? So, that pin trade, as Andy was saying earlier, 192.30 all the way up to 206. That's where all those points come from in 2.0. Now, the numbers that you're seeing here, as well as the numbers that you see in my Brokerage Plus, just letting Holly run in moderate risk mode, risking $100 a trade. These are the numbers, on risking $100 per trade. So let's dive right in here and talk about one of the things that we like to talk about is how do you extract some of this spread between conservative and moderate profit. Of course, we're seeing it in hindsight now, but the little technique to figuring out or trying to capture some of this. And of course, we don't know what spread might develop, but it all comes down to just some pretty simple deductions. So let's take a look at the pin first. All day I kept thinking this was pin gaming, Andy, but it's not the right pin. Pin game is PENN. This is just plain old pin. But let us first take a moment just to admire the beautiful entry here. As Andy was pointing out, here's the daily. I mean, look at the entry down here, right in the bottom of that wick at 192.30. Of course, this is what it looked like on the intraday. I really like this too because first we had the red candle with the wick. We tightened up here. Even if you were making this from a total random manual trade, if you had not seen it through Holly, this is a great entry when you can see a candle like this and got the higher green candle and you can use that wick as your exit. But nonetheless, snap back long. Hadn't seen this strategy make a lot of appearances. I hope it makes more because these are the types of plays that, man, it's just beautiful to see. Perhaps Holly's better at these than we humans. But you can see from the time it was purchased, got a little hemming and hawing around the entry line, which is more than likely why Holly called an early exit in the form of profit save. But we'd only been in the trade, 15 minutes or so? We check out the entry and the exit time. Holly was only in at 16 minutes. This is very common. Once an entry is made and we get a little sideways action, that's when the AI is more than likely to pull the plug early in a profit save or a reduced risk. And that's exactly what she did right here at the end of the shaded area, and, you know, pulled in a whopping $33 on that lot. But as we are seeing that exit being made and we see the nice wick up and we see these green bars forming and a little sideways action for an hour, in my opinion, that's always a good thing. A little sideways consolidation right at or slightly above or below the entry point. That's a good sign in my opinion. Then it was just off to the races with Penn. So a beautiful opportunity just to ignore Holly's exit signal, take a little bit more risk. And, you know, what's the multiple on this one? Man, it's about almost let's call it somewhere between a 7 and an 8x multiple between conservative profit and moderate profit, holding till the end of the day there. $33 versus $237. So a beautiful trade from Penn, or from Holly on Penn. But I got to say, if I had to pick a favorite, it was JHG today. And not only did she peg it on the first entry, she pegged it pretty well on the second entry. And this is going to look very familiar, ladies and gentlemen, because this is something that I talk about all the time. It's just that usually we don't see the second entry occurring in the fashion that you're seeing right here. All right. So number one, we had statistical probability from the tailwind strategy. Let's see. I moved my panel. Where did I put it? Give me a second here. All right. Well, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I'm just going to spawn another one here. Strategy. Okay. So tailwind, I think it was just under 60% today. Right. 59.5%, as we can see right here. So right off the bat, we've got 59.5% in our favor. At one point in time today, tailwind was batting 1,000, up 3 for 3. Trades today 3. One ended up backing off, so 66.7%. So it technically overperformed today, or outperformed, we could say. But getting back to this first JHG entry. All right, so we've got statistical probability on our side. The high's already been put in that opening got a wick on the top, a wick on the bottom. So we've already got our high and our low mapped out here, and then Holly comes along and initiates the buy there at 30.35. What might happen from this point on? Well, we might have an auxiliary pattern play out in the form of an opening range break. You know, it's either going to fail and stop us out, or it's going to tighten up and maybe go bust out a new high. Now, pecked above just a little bit, 9:15, 10:15 Eastern time. But we got this beautiful little consolidation, and then bam, Holly calls it again right here. Let me go ahead and click on that one at the 30.86. So even so, it was still underneath the breakout. So the first signal here, setting up nicely for that opening range breakout with this little tight consolidation. Holly goes ahead and bangs it one more time here, which is still early. If I go ahead and push this orange line up, you know, 2 early signals, even better, because when this event happens, you can just sit back and enjoy the ride. Or as it cruises through 31.11 and we officially have that opening range break, boom, you could have even added to the position a third time at this level here. So whether you got it once, twice, or 3 times, it's all good. How was the volume in this stock today? And let me just get my single stock window over here. Look how the volume finished in JHG. A nice 4.4 on the relative scale, usually only kicking out 1.42 million, trading over 3 million shares today. So a lot of beautiful things about this JHG. And even one more time, it sets up for yet another entry as we get a consolidation period up until 1 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. And if you're an aggressive trader, one more setup, one more push, and then a higher move into the close. So 2 signals from Holly, an auxiliary pattern playing out, and then even yet another time to give JHG the old business right around here at 1 o'clock my time. And, you know, 31.59, almost a whole nother point to be had from this third potential entry here. So talk about this all the time on how we can leverage these positions. It just so happens that Holly did it both times today. Doesn't always happen, but tailwind and pullback long, both kicking out excellent signals in the same stock today. And I'd like to see more of this. You know, can't say if this was just kind of random or how much this will happen in the future, but I got to say, highly impressed, liked it a lot. And JHG was responsible for the lion's share of the gains today, because almost 6% here, 4% here. So if you played it properly, you know, you stood to make 10% just in JHG alone. Ad trend, not a bad trade, kicking out 6%. Just not a whole lot of spread here to talk about between conservative and moderate profit. But boy, look how sleepy that thing was. Probably no volume to speak of as this level was hit. But hey, when the volume did kick in, that's what triggered Holly. Nice little buy here at 1341, topping out 1451. Not a bad trade at all. Just not a whole lot of spread here between conservative and moderate there. So between JHG and PIN, that accounted for the lion's share of the gains today. When we get down here, we really don't see any other large spreads developing. Usually I like to talk about trade rounds, right? When a stock gets stopped out, how did it react around the stop area? But guess what? No stops to speak of today, all right? Which is a good thing. So no stop outs. It's been a while since we've seen that. But on a total of what, 14 signals here, not one stop out. Good sign. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now, Andy, I know you've been attacking all these questions here. Anything about the AI that I need to go back and reiterate?
Yeah.
I see an order entry question here with a limit offset.
Yeah, you know what? I'll get to that one here in just a minute, but I'm trying to see what Ben was referring to. Now, Ben, it looks like he's looking at the strategies, and he's talking about under alerts, the alerts used, I guess.
You talking about the Mighty Mouse comment?
Yeah, it looks like he was asking for the alerts, and I didn't know if he's looking at the history of the alerts. Now, when it comes to configuration, which means how does it generate these alerts? We don't share that. That's proprietary knowledge. Somebody else asked that as well. I dropped it in there. But you can go to our website and get a brief description of what it kind of give you an idea of what the strategy is looking for. But as far as the secret sauce goes, yeah, we can't share that for obvious reasons. But I guess that's what you're asking.
Right. Dan. And you can see here, I've got the AI strategy tab up. These were the strategies that the AI brought to today's session. So tomorrow, you might see some of the same strategies. You might see different ones. We just never know until the AI does its calculations after we update all the tick data for all the stocks today, give the AI new data, kick out the last day in the history. And then it goes about back testing all of its base strategies and trying to improve upon them. And then what's going to determine which strategies make the cut for the next session will be, did they meet the minimum score on our proprietary scoring system? Only the ones that meet that minimum score after optimization and back testing will make the cut for tomorrow. But having said that, even if we see like the anvil or the continuation or Mighty Mouse show up, the base strategy was the same, but the strategy that you'll see tomorrow is going to be slightly different because the AI has modified it a little bit. So that's kind of the way that the AI derives the strategy set for the next session.
Very good. And to get back to your question on spread, let me say this when it comes to auto trading the AI, okay? The people that I've noticed that trade Holly the best, trade it manually. I'm just going to be straight up with you. Spread is something, or a limit offset, or some people like to call it delta. That's subjective, okay? I know some people that try to use like a 3 cent delta or maybe a 5 to 7 cent. That's something you're just going to have to play around with, until you get a good feel. I can show you several examples. I think we already did, where if you're trading this manually, like that GHG, you could have killed it. ADTN, very beautiful breakout. So a lot of the traders will trade Holly manually and only pick the ones that they like. I'm not trying to discourage you from trying to auto trade it, but I think it's something you should definitely paper trade for a while and get a good feel, because there is going to be slippage. Obviously, there is slippage in every strategy, and you just can't avoid it. Soon, I'm hoping there won't be commissions. We're working on that, trust me. But it's not, obviously we're not the broker, so it's nothing we can control. But and I will say this: since we've changed the parameters, and we've readjusted a lot of our stop losses and added some new configuration, new strategies, things are probably, they're getting, I can only see over the last couple of weeks, they're getting a lot better. So if you've been doing this for a while, you might, in trying to auto trade it, you might want to hang on, paper trade, and see if all these implementations that we made doesn't pay off for auto trading. But
right, and Andy, on the how aggressive to be on your delta, that's something that we've all grappled with.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you run market orders, yeah, you're going to get everything, but you're also going to increase your slippage tremendously. If you run limit orders on a fast moving stock, even with a, I think Vij was using a -4, if it's a fast moving stock, you can miss the fill because it's moved so fast that your -4 is under the bid, right? So, when, Michael and myself were doing a lot of auto stuff, we just say, you know what, we're going to do -9, okay? And we're going to get most of the fills. And even with -9, sometimes you're going to miss something because it's just moving too fast, right? So it's, those are things that factor into auto trading that you can't necessarily see in a back test, right? Same thing with short plays. Sometimes the best trade of the day was a short play, and you would have even gotten it with your limit delta, but it was hard to borrow, right? So you couldn't execute, right? So, there's a lot of subtle nuances between, what you see in a back test and then when you go to execute a strategy in real time. Anyway,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, just short of running market orders, you have to be a little bit more aggressive with your delta. And if the spread is less than 9 cents, you'll hit the offer. And if it's larger than 9 cents, you just got to do what everybody else does on any other trade. You throw your bid out there and you hope to get filled. And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. And what I'd like to see done and lobbying for, and I'm hoping, I know we're going to see some of this in the future, but to have more customizable order entries for different strategies. I think that would be a big benefit. In other words, and as a matter of fact, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I will present it, or at least throw it out to the dev department tomorrow, because I really think for these momentum trades, you should be able to go with more aggressive delta. And then, of course, the contrarian trades, where you're basically going counterintuitive to the direction of the stock at the time, maybe you can get less aggressive and even get better prices. So that's something I'll definitely, present to upper management and the dev department. But I think that'd be a nice feature.
All righty, sir. Are you ready for me to pass it back?
You better send it back. There've been so many good questions. I'm running out of time.
I like it.
And I got a great alert to share with everybody. Yeah. All right. So, guys, I'm looking at a stock today that I'm in, and I'll just bring it up. It is, let's see. I'm going to have to go. It's YCBD. All right. There we go. And I'm looking at this chart today, and I said, "Oh man, that's a really nice looking chart." I don't play too many lower price stocks. So this one, somebody brought to my attention a while ago, and I'm like, "Wow, this has got a nice little pattern going to it. A little explosive move, and then another explosive move, and here it's kind of trading sideways. Had another little one there, pulled back, but I'm liking the way this is setting up. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, man, I want to I'm going to build a top list to help me find patterns like this. Okay. So this is this kind of thing that, and I go over this so many times in this webinar, talking about, what I'm thinking when I'm building these alerts. And the first thing I'm looking at here is, okay, it's above all moving averages. You can see my moving average, 200, 50, 20, 10. They're also aligned perfectly there. Let me go ahead and pull up my little cursor here. All right, there's your 10 period. And well, it's not wanting to work here. Hold on, it's acting up on me. Oh, well, you guys just gonna have to bear with me. For some reason, my Epic pen doesn't want to work. All right, but you can see the moving averages there. Okay, so first thing to come to my mind, I said, well, I have a top list already that looks for stocks that are all above their moving averages. So I go over here to my cloud and I just search for above. I remember the name of it. Gosh, I'm on a brand new but developmental version. Is getting a little quirky with me. All right. Let's load this up. All right, so I already had a top list built with all stocks that are above all major moving averages, okay, just so I can get a good look at some pretty good, strong stocks out there. So I got the first part done. So I'm thinking, well, let me just build it from here and see if I can create this certain pattern in my head. So what I do is I look and I said, well, the first thing I want to see is I know it's going to be sloping from lower left to upper right because it's above all its major moving averages. That would only make sense. So I'm thinking, well, the position in 5-day range, I want it pulling back, but also setting up, for a potential another move. So I'm just thinking, well, the 5-day range right there, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fix my configuration and add that 5-day position in 5-day range. And guys, these things are very powerful. So let me go over here and eliminate anything I don't. Actually, I want to change this price to 2.5 since I'm looking for that stock that has, it's only $2 and whatever it was, 90 something cents. Position in year range, I don't need that. And average daily volume, that's fine. I'd like to, look for stocks that are kind of liquid anyway. So you see all my, above all my moving averages already in there. This EPS is just a hack to make sure I'm not getting any ETFs coming through. Just basically telling the algo that the stock has to report some type of earnings. But I want to put in position in 5-day range. It's already in there for me. That's nice. And I'm going to come in here just by looking at that chart. I'm going to put a maximum of 75. And I eyeball this stuff. We have a site that you can go to called Stocks Like This that will help you. Just search in Google Stocks Like This, trade ideas, and you can put the symbol in there and it'll show you where all these parameters fall. I normally do that, but a lot of times I can just eyeball it. So I'm looking at stocks that are nowhere near their 5-day high. I want them pulling back. And then what I also want is position in range. I want it somewhere. I want to be notified when it's close to or just slightly above the prior day's high. Okay, so what I'm going to use here is position in previous day's range. And I am going to put 90 as a minimum. And I'm just making a nice little bracket here, 110 as the max, okay? So yesterday's high would be 100%, okay? So when I put 90 in minimum, I know it has to be within 10% of yesterday's range from its high, if that makes sense. And I do not want it too far above yesterday's high. I don't want to be chasing these things, okay? So I'm putting a max of 110. So basically, it can't be more than 10% of that range above. All right, so one other one I want to put in here, and that is position in today's range. Okay, I don't want the stock to have run up and then come back down and put in a big old topping tail. Okay, I want it pretty much just like this one was, where it would trigger right when it was close to yesterday's high. So I'm going to put position in range, okay, and I'm going to use a minimum of 80. I'm sorry, position in previous day's range would have stopped the tail. I'm sorry, once something is coming up, coming down, I believe. Position in range, 80, minimum, yeah. Yeah, so if the stock would have gapped way up and came down, the position in range, it would not be 80, it'd be more like 40 or 50 or something like this. So this is going to show that at least the stock is near, not too far from its today's high. All right, so this is what I've done. Now I've already built this because I changed some columns and everything. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up the one I built. All right, it's the same thing. I'll hit OK just in case I can't find it. But I am just going to pull up, and it looks like, yes, I built it correctly. But just in case, let me go ahead and pull up the one that I built today for you guys. And we call it sweetness. I can just delete this one. All right. So I'm going to go back and because we had such a vicious sell-off there in the closing 30 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to about 45 minutes before the close so we can catch a lot of these stocks that had this really nice setup. So you guys can see how this works. All right, so I'm going to go into history. Sorry, time frame. I'm going to go to a historical date. And then I'm just going to put in there 2:15. I'm on Central Time, so the market closes at 3. I'm just going to put in 2:15, so basically 45 minutes before the market, before we started having that vicious sell-off. And then we're going to go through and look at some of these stocks, and I think you're going to really like a lot of these. These are some really sweet setups. All right. Well, first thing I wanted to see, anytime I'm building an alert like this, I want to see if the stock I was using as a model is in there. All right. So if I go down here, you're going to see there's YCBD. It was in there. It's exactly what I want to see. Okay. So I know now this alert is working. Okay. Because it caught my model there. And now some of these stocks may have sold off during the closing 30 minutes of the day. I think a lot of them probably did, but I just want to see. That's textbook right there, guys. It doesn't get much sweeter than this. This is why I call this sweetness. You have a stock that's been pulling back and hit this. That was kind of an ugly close right there, but then came back up, regained that fast line, now going sideways, and you would have seen it come through this alert right as it was getting close to yesterday's high. That's what you want to see. Beautiful setup there. Textbook. That one's not bad. I would like a little bit more of a pullback on something that's run this much, but nonetheless, very strong, showing strength. There you have it. You know, there's your setup there. Like I said, that one was definitely forming a nice little position, and then the market got it at the close there. Beautiful one right there. That's textbook. This strength. You just above all your moving averages, holding the fast line, looking ready, getting ready for another move. I think this MRO was pretty too. Yeah, it's trying there. Now, when you get this, you can, the thing to do would be to set alerts in these things when you see them. Maybe, when you see them close to that high and they don't go through, maybe set them for the next day. Just come in here and put a price alert in there, and then you're ready for the next day in case this thing goes off and you see volume behind it. But a lot of great textbook, stocks right there. One after another, actually. Yeah, that one's kind of been slopping around for days now. I'm not sure what that's going to do. See if we got any more. That one, yeah, it's a little too wiki for me. Not a bad one. Yeah, you can see a lot of these ones were setting up nicely until that close. Textbook right there, FANG. That's what you want to see. Come down, even though it fell below, it found a little base there, and now it's trying to poke up and go in between. Something I like about this versus just buying it blindly, on a pullback is, you're catching it as it goes back and taking out the prior day's high. So you're kind of not going counterintuitive. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times it's nice to have these little setups, that are setting up for you and forming where you can catch them on the rebound. And there's my YCB that I am currently in. My average is, I actually started buying it down here on this pullback, but I did add to it today. ACB, is this the one that, who was talking about this, that they were in it? I believe it was, who was that? I guess it was his, hold on, I'm going through my little, Dave, yeah, that's what I thought, Dave. That was a nice one. Yeah, guys, unfortunately, I don't have the price alerts, and you know, I could probably, like I said, I could probably go into the cloud and do that. But I'll tell you what we'll do. Since we got the holidays coming up, and we're going to be taking a lot of days off during the holidays. We may put those off until, I hate to do this to you guys, but we're gonna have to put it off this week because I'm sure I'll save them here. But yeah, Dave, that's a smoking call there. You would have called this back over here somewhere, right? Around in the 7 range. That was a good one. All right, one last one here to look at, OII. There's another, you know, nice little, you know, just come in here, guys, when you're seeing these setups and put little alerts in there when they do take out that high, and maybe you get some volume behind it and you can look for a continued momentum in the same direction.
Andy, you have not I see you dropped one link in there.
Yeah.
Is that for sweetness?
No, I dropped one link. Who was it? Elena was asking for both of our layouts, Jamie. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. So if you drop your layout in there, and I am going to share this right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to share it right now. All righty. And yeah, you guys take this thing. I mean, a lot of things. I mean, let me go and drop it first. Sweetness. And there you have it, right below it. And let's see how it closed. I'm gonna put, oh, you know what? Let me do that again. I saved it in historical mode. Let me put it on live during market hours and go ahead and save it again for you guys. And coming right now, get the second one. That's the one that's live during market hours. And let's take a look at that, some of these ones. Yeah, look at that textbook. Yeah, I guess all these were in there. Some nice setups there. All right, let me see to make sure I got all the question. Yeah, Dave, I think you probably won it on that one. Dan, good question. Dan says lots of great features, lots of moving parts and windows. What is the learning curve for the average user? I assume you're talking about the software and not trading, but honestly, if you take that getting started or starting from scratch video, we're going to update that here pretty soon too, because we've added some features since then, but it can still get you started as far as, building alerts. But okay, good. He said he's traded a lot, it depends on your style, Dan. If you're a momentum trader and you want to just catch the best momentum alerts, you can go to, we have these channels over here. We have a momentum channel. We have this Traderz Vault has tons of good alerts in it. And, the best thing to do, is just find, play with the software. I would used to spend just weekends, just back testing and doing configurations, just like I kind of showed you right there, just building. It's amazing how much you can learn just by, playing around with some of these filters and building your own windows. Learning curve. I don't know how long you've had trade ideas, but in a couple of weeks you should get a really decent feel and for the stock, and then in about a month, you should be on your way to really working with the software and have a decent layout build with a few windows. But You know, I like to tell people, you know, you got to treat it as a job, you know, and if you get in a business, it's going to take you weeks and sometimes months, you know, to learn that business and different softwares and programs. So just you have to be patient. Get in the YouTube channel and watch as many videos as you can. Go to our support webinar and ask questions. There's a lot of things you can do. Dave's saying it doesn't take long to learn how to configure, but it takes months to learn how to configure the top list and alerts. You know, I've been using it for so long. Me and Jamie are both one of the very first users of the, you know, we started trading with the CEO years and years ago. So we kind of sometimes take it for granted, but yes, I know it's very powerful and it takes time. Get in the trading room, come to the support webinars, watch the YouTube videos, and you know, after about a month, you should have a really, you know, decent feel and be on your way to, you know, the main thing to do is figure out what type of trader you want to be. You know, do you want to be, you know, a contrarian? You know, you want to be a momentum trader? Do you want to be a swing trader? You know, and once you've established your niche, you know, then you want to build alerts to help you with that niche. All right. I don't know if Scott made it back in, guys, but a successful trader. Yes, you want to be a successful trader. That's true, John. There's Chris just dropped a video in here. Let me see if I just say okay and see if they can copy that. I don't know if they can copy that from there. Can I share the scan with the price overall? Yeah, above all averages. Sure, I can do that. It's a good one as well. All right, I'll drop it in the chat window as well.
And it sounds kind of like Scott might still be out of action.
Okay.
Audio. So
okay, no problem. I can walk us through the remaining slides here. No problem. Let me pull her back up here. I'm just making sure I got all the questions. I think we got them all. Jamie can hit them up if I don't. All right. I was talking about that daily support session, guys. It's very important. These are every day, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Okay, get in there. They're hour long. Hopefully you have the time. Unfortunately, these are on our live stream on our YouTube. We kind of steal Barry's section for an hour, so these are not able to be recorded. But if you can get in there, ask your questions. Whoever's doing it, I'll be doing it tomorrow, and just come in with your questions. And well, you can learn a lot in there. Even if you can't think of any questions you might have, get in there. You'll learn something. 12 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Why is this just not flipping for me? All right. We got, because I'm not in present mode. There we go. We have a free ebook. Okay. You can download this for free. Just go to trade-ideas.com/earnings. Dave Mabe did this ebook, wrote it. And it's very, very good. You need to get in there and get that ebook to learn more about trade ideas and setting up some things for earnings. All right. We do have a podcast. All right. That I'm not sure if we're doing another one, fresh one this week, but there's plenty in the hopper to you to choose from. Okay. Just download it in your favorite app and subscribe. And yeah, check out those podcasts. Trade Ideas podcasts, they're great. Sean does a lot of those and some really good content in there. All right, we do have a code, fall savings. Okay, this is save you 15% off all of our subscriptions, standard and premium. Just get 15% off. Just go to the trade-ideas.com/price and type in the code fall savings, and you will get your 15% off of a subscription. questions. The best place, guys, to send your questions is info. If you can't come to the support webinar, send to info@trade-ideas.com. Okay. Now, this is just an email. We'll be writing back and forth, so you will not get the benefit, obviously, of being able to see a visual like you will be in the support webinar. So we encourage people to come to that if you have a trading question versus just sending something in. The phone number here is only for billing questions only. And if you want to reach out to Jamie on Twitter, he's at QuantBot, and Steve Gomez is at TodayTrader. All right. Thank you so much for your attendance today. Great questions and some good stuff. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, those that can make it to the support webinar at 12. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Thank you, Jamie.
Good stuff, Andy. We'll see you and everybody else tomorrow.
All right.